Hello, Bill and Enigma here, and welcome on into the pre-patch podcast patch notes for Diablo 4's patch 1.1.1 Campfire Chat. Today we have some exciting news for you. Diablo 4 is finally getting a major update with patch 1.1.1 bringing in a load of quality of life improvements, class balances, and much more. And the best thing about it is, there's not a single nerf in the bunch. So grab your gear, sharpen your weapons, and let's get started.
First up, let's talk about the quality of life improvements. The development team has been listening to your feedback and making some great changes. Dungeon teleport times. Players have been asking for faster teleportation, and the team delivered. Dungeon teleport time is being reduced back to a quick 3 seconds, so you can spend more time slaying demons and less time waiting. Respec cost reduction. Experimenting with different builds is about to get cheaper. The cost of respecking your character's skills and talents will be reduced by a whopping 40%. Extra stash tab. Managing your loot can be a hassle, but worry no more. You'll get one additional stash tab available for purchase with gold, providing a much needed storage space upgrade for all those legendary items. Nightmare Dungeon affix changes. Nightmare dungeons are getting an overhaul. The team heard your frustration with certain affixes being overly challenging, so they're removing some troublesome ones, like Resource Drain, Cold Enchantment, and Backstabber from the pool. Now let's talk about some legendary drop rate changes. Legendary items are the holy grail for every Diablo player. With patch 1.1.1, the loot gods are smiling upon us. Dungeon legendary drop rate increases. Dungeon crawlers rejoice! Dungeons will have higher chance to drop legendary items, giving you more opportunities to gear up with the best items. Legion events and legendary guarantees. Want guaranteed loot during Legion events? Well, you got it. Starting at level 35, every Legion event will now drop a legendary item for participants. The Butcher Legendary Drop Guarantee. If you're like me, the Butcher boss fight is always a challenging and exciting fight. Well, it's getting even more exciting and rewarding now. Defeating the Butcher will guarantee a legendary item drop, making it even more rewarding and well worth the challenge. Treasure Goblin Legendary Drop Chance Increase. These mischievous goblins are getting even more generous. At level 15 and above, they'll have a 100% chance to drop a legendary item, so keep an eye out for these little treasure troves.
And now let's talk about class balance changes. Feel free to pause on any of these slides if you want a more detailed, in-depth look at what's being changed, but the team has been fine-tuning each class to create a more enjoyable and balanced experience. And first off, let's talk about the Sorcerer. Sorcerers will be seeing some welcome changes, such as Serpentine Aspect, which will now only provide benefits without any of the downsides, improving overall survivability. Some of the skill changes coming up with them is Firebolt is now going to generate 2 mana when hitting an enemy, and Enhanced Fireball has had its radius increased by 50%. Destructive Fireball has had its critical strike damage increased by 20%, and this is increased to 30% based off if the Fireball hits 3 or more enemies. Lightning Sorcerers rejoice! Greater Chain Lightning has been changed to each time Chain Lightning bounces, its next hit deals 5% increased damage, and Destructive Chain Lightning now has a 30% chance to form Crackling Energy. Passive buffs are coming your way, as Veer's Mastery has had its damage changed to 15% up from 10%. Uso's Ferocity has been changed so that it now both bonuses are also granted for 3 seconds when hitting a boss with a critical strike. And Combustion has been changed to burning effects now deal 20% increased damage, plus an additional 2% increased damage per unique source of burning applied to an enemy. Paragon board changes are involved as well. Searing Heat legendary node has been changed to casting Fireball or Meteor increases critical strike chance by 5% for 5 seconds up to 15%. Ceaseless Conduit has increased crackling energy damage from 2% to 3% per 20 intelligence. Reinforced Rare Glyph now reduces damage by 15%. Territorial Rare Glyph now reduces damage by 15%. Warding Rare Glyph now reduces damage by 25%, and Keeper of Flames node now has 5% damage reduction and an additional 5% bonus damage reduction. Continuing with damage reduction Paragon glyphs, Smoldering Ember rare node damage reduced from burning enemies increased to 5%, and bonus damage reduction from burning enemies increased to 5%. Guarded rare node damage reduction from vulnerable enemies increased to 5%, and bonus reduction decreased by 5%. Oppressive rare node damage reduced from vulnerable enemies increased by 5%. Lightning resilience rare node bonus max life increased to 6%. And restorative rare node maximum life bonus increased to 6%. Hopefully this all means that Sorcs will be less likely to be getting one shot in endgame. We mentioned Serpentine Aspect earlier, but other legendary changes include Aspect of Conflagration, bonus burning damage increased from 20 to 30 to 20 to 40%. Aspect of Engulfing Flames, bonus burning damage increased to 60 to 80%. Aspect of the Three Curses changed to increase the critical strike damage of Meteor and Fireball by 20 to 40%. Bonus this against healthy enemies. Flamewalker Aspect will give you bonus movement speed duration increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Gravitational Aspect changed to ball lightning orbits around you and deals 15 to 25% increased damage. Recharging Aspect has been changed to each time lightning bounces, gain 2 to 3 mana. Aspect of Unbroken Tether, bonus chain lightning bounces increased from 2 to 4 bounces. Charged Aspect, bonus movement speed duration increased from 4 to 8 seconds. Aspect of the Bounding Conduit, bonus movement speed increased from 20 to 25% to 25 to 30%. And we even got new legendaries. Mage Lord's Aspect. The Veer Mastery key passive damage reduction is increased by 20 to 30% for each close enemy, up to a max of 60 to 90%. Aspect of the Frozen Orbit, damage increased from 20% to 30 to 40%. Storm Swell Aspect, bonus damage increased to 21 to 30%. Snow Veiled Aspect, unstoppable duration increased to 3 to 5 seconds, with additional functionality also granting 10% bonus armor for 3 to 5 seconds. Incendiary Aspect, changed to lucky hit damage from your pyromancy skills, has up to 12 to 17% chance to restore 10 mana. Snowguard's Aspect changed to within your own blizzard, and for 2 seconds after leaving it, you take 20 to 25% less damage. Aspect of Concentration, mana regeneration increased to 40 to 50%. Duration requirements to gain its benefit have been reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. And lastly, we have a unique change with the Gloves of the Illuminator. Damage penalty reduced to 45 to 35%, damage to stunned affix replaced with lucky hit changed to restore resource, reduce the distance offset per bonus range from 3 to 2.5. This should make it so that it is easier to hit close enemies with your fireball. Next, we move on to the Barbarian class changes. Barbarians are finally getting a boost. Basic skill damages are increased pretty well across the board, and the benefits of legendary and unique items will be amplified. But will this be enough to make a Barbarian a true force to be reckoned with? Only patch 1.1.1 will tell. But here's the breakdown of all of the changes to expect. The first thing to be noted is that every single one of the basic attacks of the Barbarian will be gaining you more Fury, up to 1 to 3 from what they previously were. On top of this, we have damage increases for Double Swing going up to 50%, Enhanced Rupture going up to 70%, Charge going up to 60%, and Mighty Charge increasing its vulnerable duration to a whopping 4 seconds. Violent Upheaval is getting a big change, where if Upheaval hits at least 2 enemies or a boss, you gain Berserking for 2 seconds, increased to 3 seconds if it damages at least 4 enemies. On top of the skill changes, we have plenty of passive buffs, such as Aggressive Resistance, damage reduction increased to 4%, Gushing Wounds, bleed damage dealt based on critical damage bonus increased to 115%, bleed damage when overpowered increased to 70%, Unconstrained berserking damage bonus increased to 35%, and Walking Arsenal, where the bonus damage duration is increased from 6 to 8 seconds. And now let's get into those Barbarian legendaries and uniques. Starting with the Aspect of Ancestral Force, damage increased to 40 to 58%. Death Wish Aspect, Thorns increased to 0.65 to 0.85. Aspect of Unrelenting Fury, core skill cost to refund increased to 20 to 30%. Additional functionality added that the cost refund also granted when hitting bosses. Aspect of Ancestral Charge, damage increased to 75 to 125%. Aspect of Burning Rage, damage increased to 0.3 to 0.38. Aspect of Bull Kathos, damage reduction while in earthquakes increased to 15 to 25%. Earthquake Aspect, damage bonus in earthquakes increased to 15 to 25%. And for the uniques, we have Fields of Crimson, damage increased to 0.22 to 0.38. Damage that enemies take standing in your pools will be increased to 20%. And Rupture cooldown reduction affix replaced with a bonus critical strike damage. The Hellhammer is getting a big buff, with damage increased to 0.85 to 1.1, burning duration increased from 3 to 4, and damage to crowd-controlled enemies affix will be replaced with a bonus critical strike damage. 100,000 Steps is completely getting reworked with bonus evade charges and bonus movement speed replacing its prior stats. Battle Trans basic skill damage affix is being replaced with cooldown reduction, and bonus attack speed to other skills is being increased to 35 to 45%. And that's it for the Barbarians. But if you thought the Sorcerer and the Barbarians were the only ones getting touched up this patch, you would be wrong. Necromancer, Druid, and Rogue are all getting positive buffs. Starting with the Rogue, the goal was to provide more desirable options and allow for more player diversity. The skills in question being altered are Fundamental Invigorating Strikes, increasing its energy threshold to 75%. Primary Forceful Arrow changed to every third cast pierces enemies. Enhanced Caltrops damage bonus increased to 5%. Poison Trap damage per tick increased to 0.12. And Supreme Rain of Arrows changed to Rain of Arrows first wave, knocks down enemies for 3 seconds. For passive changes, we have Victimized lucky hit chance increased to 45%, Rugged damage reduction against damage over time effects increased to 9, 18, or 27%, and Siphoning Strike's lucky hit chance increased to 85%. And then we move on to the legendaries and uniques, with a couple of each being modified. Aspect of Elusive Menace no longer requires hit to be close to an enemy. An aspect of Quickening Fog changed to automatically drop a smoke grenade at the end of a dash. Smoke grenades reduce dash cooldown by 0.4 to 0.6 seconds per target hit up to 2 to 3 seconds. And as for the uniques, we have Wind Force getting all stat affixes replaced with vulnerable damage, and Word of Hakan ultimate damage affix replaced with cooldown reduction. Next up, we have Druids, and Druids are getting a lot stronger than they already are, with basic skills generating more spirit across the board, and companions will deal more damage while taking less, making them far more formidable allies in battle. As mentioned, every basic skill is getting its spirit increased by 2 to 3 across the board, and the Wolves are getting massive buffs, with passive damage increasing to 11%, active damage being increased to 135%, and enhanced Wolf Pack damage bonus increased to 25%, with Brutal Wolf Pack increased attack speed increased to 25%, and Ferocious Wolf Pack Fortify amount increased to 8% for all of your dog needs. And that's not the only companion buffs, with Ravens also getting buffs, such as passive damage increasing to 20%, Brutal Ravens getting increased functionality of an increase the passive damage of Ravens by 40%, and Rabies damage over time increased to 110%. Moving on to legendary changes, we have Aspect of Metamorphic Stone, spirit cost reduced to 50, damage dealt increased to 100 to 120. Aspect of the Alpha, damage increased to 90 to 115%, and the Mangled Aspect, resource gain increased to 3. Druids are also getting a class mechanic change, with Overload's lucky hit chance being increased to 40%. And don't worry, Corpse Boys, even though you're already a top tier class, you're getting some buffs along with this. The Necromancer is getting skill increases in their Bone Spear, with an enhanced Bone Spirit cooldown being reduced from 6 seconds to 7 seconds. You're also getting a Paragon board change with the Wither legendary board, willpower requirement for bonus reductions from 50 down to 40, and bonus damage per 40 willpower increased to 4%. And now for those legendaries. Aspect of Empowering Reaper, changed to damaging enemies with Sever, has a 10 to 12% chance to spawn a pool of blight underneath of that target, which will deal 20 to 60% bonus damage. This effect can only happen once every 3 seconds, however. Aspect of Exposed Flesh is being changed as well. Lucky hit up to 10% chance to generate 30 to 50 essence when hitting a vulnerable enemy. Aspect of Decay, damage increased to 25 to 45%. Aspect of Torment changed to essence regeneration increased to 90 to 170%. This is massive. Hulking Aspect, legendary category changed to resource. Hulking Aspect, chance for Golem to reduce its cooldown increased to 2 to 5%, and chance for Golem to spawn corpses is increased to 1 to 2.5%. And lastly, the unique change for you is the Greaves of Empty Tomb, intelligence affix replaced with bonus movement speed. And lastly, for every build that relies on minions, the following attacks now deal reduced damage to your Druid companions and Necromancer companions: the Balrog's Fire Breath, and elite affixes such as Fire Enchanted, Electrified Obelisks, and Shock Lance. Hopefully, this will help those minions survive just a little bit longer.
But wait, there's more. The developers have had some general improvements in store for us. Monster density in Nightmare Dungeons and Helltides. Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide monster density will be increased across the board to create more engaging and enjoyable events and dungeons. As if that's not enough, here's a sneak peek at some future changes. Resistance adjustments. The team is adjusting resistances to be more effective, providing better defense against various threats. Mount improvements. If you're like me, the mounts are insanely bad in this game. Mount movement will be smoother, charging will be improved, and collision and barricades will be fixed, promising a more enjoyable riding experience across the board. Overpowered stat enhancement. The overpowered stat will be improved to become more meaningful in the endgame, giving players a sense of growing strength as they progress. And that's a wrap for our rundown of Diablo 4 patch 1.1.1 Campfire Chat. It's going to be an exciting update, with so many improvements and balances across the board. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And please, don't forget to hit that like button if you're excited about these changes, and subscribe to our channel for more Diablo 4 content, and so much more. Until next time, happy demon slaying, stay strong Nephilim, and may your loot be legendary, and your battles epic. We'll see you in Sanctuary.